Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, my name is James Quintero. I represent the Texas Public Policy Foundation. Thank you for the opportunity to testify in favor of SB 414 and put forward a few examples for you. When a voter enters the voting booth to say yea or nay to a bond proposition, they are only provided with a short descriptor written in legalese and the principal amount sought to guide their decision. I don't believe that's enough information for the average voter to make an informed decision. And as evidence, what I would point you to is the famous case of Gretchen Gardner, a young Austinite who was interviewed several years ago by the Austin American-Statesman, and she said the following about property taxes, quote, "I'm at the breaking point. I have voted for every park, every library, all the school improvements, for light rail, for anything that will make this city better. But now I can't afford to live here anymore." What Ms. Gardner's comment suggests is that the propositions put before at least some voters are not entirely clear, either in terms of their immediate cost or long-term consequence. SB 414 seeks to clear up this confusion by providing voters with additional relevant details at the point of decision-making to ensure that they have a complete understanding of the cost and consequences of any proposal. Now, the information that this bill seeks to provide is not a small thing either, and I want you to consider two examples. In November 2024, Houston ISD asked voters to approve one single measure worth $3.96 billion. The estimated interest cost, which was not disclosed on the ballot, and this is according to the district's voter information document, was $4.4 billion, which would have effectively doubled the advertised cost. And I want you to just take that in for a minute. This means had voters approved the measure, they would be paying more in interest than they had actually been told on the ballot proposition itself. In May 2025, Salina ISD also sought voter approval for a $2.3 billion proposition. Again, the voter information document reveals that the estimated interest cost was roughly equivalent at $2.2 billion. These are just two examples to punctuate the point that voters should know these details when considering new debt. So in the interest of transparency and informed decision-making, I urge the committee to pass SB 414. And thank you for your time.
Members, are there questions? Representative Bryant.
Mr. Quintero, did the Houston bond issue pass?
It did not.
Thank you. Who put the bond issue to the voters?
I believe that was the Board of Managers.
Okay, so it wasn't the Houston Independent School District Board of Trustees, was it?
I don't believe so, not in that case.
Well, it certainly wasn't, because the Houston Independent School District is under the control of the Texas Education Agency, isn't it?
Currently.
And they had a campaign in the city against the bond issue, and the people that wanted to vote it down, did they not?
They did.
Okay, so where's the outrage in this?
Well, the fact that the information was not disclosed to voters, I think, makes the decision-making process deficient. And it's not just in the Houston ISD example, but all throughout the state of Texas. In fact, if you look at the latest round of May 2025 bond elections, what you see is about $41.3 billion put up for a vote. In none of those cases was the interest component disclosed to voters. So it's not just that ISDs are the problem here. I would say that the lack of interest detail as it relates to all propositions makes our decision-making process less than ideal.
Well, do you have examples of school districts that are borrowing too much money because the voters don't know how much interest they're going to be paying on the bonds?
If you look at our local debt service outstanding, we are at $500 billion in total local debt. I would suggest that.
I'll ask, of course, we have 31 million people in this state and 5.5 million students in public schools as well. So I'll ask you, just like I tried to ask Dr. Bonner and try to get an answer from Dr. Bonner, do you have any examples that would indicate this committee ought to take its time working on this bill?
I think Houston ISD and Salina ISD are two compelling examples of billions of dollars at stake where voters do not have this information.
But in Houston, it was put on the ballot by the governor's appointee, the Texas Education Agency's commissioner, who picked these board members, and then it was voted down. So that's not a very good example. Salina, you said the example there was
$2.3 billion.
What was the where's the outrage in Salina? Explain that. What's
Sure.
wrong? What happened there that's wrong?
So this is a school district in, I believe it's north of Fort Worth. About 5,000 school children attend this district. The district sought and received voter approval for $2.3 billion in new principal debt. The interest component is another $2.2 billion. So if you take that $4.5 billion and divide it by 5,000, because that's the number of currently enrolled students, you arrive at a big giant number that suggests taxpayers' bills are going to go through the roof.
Well, in other words, that's just another bond issue. There's nothing particularly unusual about that bond issue, is there? That's just another instance of a school district passing a bond issue.
I think the size of the issuance in relation to the number of kids attending the district is dramatically out of
Well,
whack.
you don't know anything about the Salina School District, neither do we. And I mean, so just picking out the most recent bond issue, acting like there's something wrong with it, is misleading.
I don't believe so. And if you look at the numbers, again, $500 billion in total debt, 40% of that is just school district debt. So we have $202 billion in school district debt. That works out to roughly $30,000 owed per student. And that
Okay.
number continues to grow because we're not giving people the information they need to make informed decisions.
So if we hadn't continued this line of questioning, we would have all thought we had $500 billion in school debt. It's only $200 billion
Right.
in school debt, right?
Correct.
For the second largest state in the United States.
Correct.
Thank you.
Members, other questions? Representative Schoolcraft.
Mr. Quintero, where do we rank nationally as far as the amount of indebtedness for our schools?
It's a great question, Representative. So if you look at the Texas Bond Review Board's latest local annual report, what it suggests is that when you compare Texas's local debt outstanding to the top 10 most populous states in the nation, we actually rank third highest in the nation, right? So only California and New York have a higher level of local debt per capita than Texas. So we are trending in, I think, a very troubling direction. And in part, that problem is exacerbated by the fact that voters don't fully understand what they're doing when they say yes or no to every bond proposition.
Thank you.
Members, other questions? Not, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.